people who don't post are not missing. They're awake. There's a quiet misunderstanding in the digital world. We've started believing that if something isn't visible, it doesn't exist. If someone isn't posting, they must be falling behind. If a life isn't documented, it must be empty. But what if the opposite is true? What if the people who post the least are the ones who understand life the most? Because visibility is easy. Anyone can upload a moment. Anyone can edit a feeling. Anyone can turn life into content. But it takes strength to live something without needing proof. Social media trained us to confuse expression with identity. We don't just share anymore. We perform. Every post quietly asks the same question. Am I being seen enough to matter? And over time, that question becomes exhausting. That's usually when people disappear. Not dramatically. Not with an announcement. Just slowly. Intentionally. They stop narrating their lives. They stop translating experiences into captions. They stop shrinking complex emotions into something consumable. And that's silence. It's not weakness. It's awareness. Because once you realize how easy it is to manufacture perception, you start protecting what's real. The people who don't post understand something most don't. The moment you publish your life, you lose a piece of ownership over it. A memory stops being intimate. A feeling becomes open to interpretation. A truth becomes a performance. So they choose privacy. Not because they're hiding, but because they're guarding something. Their inner life. Psychologically speaking, many of these people have a strong internal locus of control. Their sense of worth doesn't rise and fall with attention. They don't need digital applause to confirm reality. They don't think in likes. They think in meaning. And that puts them slightly out of sync with a culture addicted to validation. We live in a time where moments aren't fully lived until they're documented, where joy feels incomplete without witnesses, where even pain is edited for palatability. Stepping away from that system isn't disconnection. It's detox. It's choosing depth over display, presence over performance, reality over reaction. Of course, not all silence comes from peace. Some people stop posting because they're tired. Tired of comparison. Tired of being misunderstood. Tired of watching everyone else's highlight reel while quietly rebuilding themselves off screen. And instead of explaining their absence, they choose rest. There's something radical about that. Because the loudest message you can send today is refusing to compete for attention. The people who don't post often notice things others miss. They feel conversations instead of recording them. They remember moments instead of archiving them. They listen without preparing a response. They are present, and presence is rare in an attention economy. You might mistake them for distant, for private, for uninvolved, but look closer. Their silence is full. Their stillness has weight. Their lives are happening, just not for an audience. And here's the truth. Most platforms won't tell you. Some of the most important transformations will never be visible. Healing doesn't trend. Growth doesn't announce itself. Identity is built quietly, when no one is watching, when no one is validating, when it's just you and your own honesty. The longer someone stays off social media, the more grounded they become. Time slows down. Moments stretch. Life regains texture. They're not asking, should I post this? They're asking, how does this feel? That shift changes everything. So the next time you notice someone who never posts, don't assume they're lost. They may have simply stepped out of the noise to remember who they are without an audience. Because not every life is meant to be a broadcast. Not every truth is meant for the crowd. And not every meaningful thing needs to be seen to be real. In a world obsessed with being noticed, choosing to be unseen might be the most conscious act of all. Some people aren't silent because they have nothing to say. They're silent because they're finally listening.